I forgive myself. This is a continuation of the self-forgiveness Veno structural resonance part 1. I forgive myself to have allowed myself to be and stand separate from the mind, the very manifestation within, and as me, as what I have accepted and allowed myself to become, which I have accepted and allowed to exist within me. This I found, let me tell you that this self-forgiveness list I found from www.destiny.co.ca, and you can also find this at www.onenessinequalityaslifening.com. You can click on the groups page and you'll find self-forgiveness done 10 times. You click on that, you click on June's page, and you see all the self-forgiveness list there. Okay, if you look at the different groups, you click on those and you will find out what this is about. I'm just actually experimenting this, and through experimenting, of course, I will be able to find out if this works or not. Okay, so let's go on. I forgive myself to have allowed myself to be and stand separate from the mind, the very manifestation within, and as me, as what I have accepted and allowed myself to become, which I have accepted and allowed to exist within me. I forgive myself to have allowed myself to give my power away through accepting and allowing separate manifestations outside of me to influence, direct, and control me. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that separate manifestations outside of me only has the ability to direct, control, and influence me if I am and stand separate from those very manifestations which I have accepted and allowed to influence me. I forgive myself to have allowed myself to blame the past, to blame the creators, to blame the programmers, and to blame the mind for what I have accepted and allowed myself to become and what has become of this world. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that blame is a methodology of hiding the shame, sorrow, and regret, and especially fear of myself, for having to face myself for what I have accepted and allowed to be done unto me, which I had actually done unto myself. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that all I have become, all that I experienced, and all that I experience, I did to myself through my own acceptance and allowance. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to give myself the ability to direct me. I forgive myself that I have allowed myself to give away self-power, self-directiveness, and self-control to the systems reflecting all that of me, from which I have separated myself, allowing and accepting myself to be enslaved by the very nature of myself, which I have accepted and allowed to separate myself from. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that the mind and systems and all the systematic programmed existence consists of is me, is the very nature of me I have accepted and allowed myself to separate myself from, and that I am in this moment trapped, enslaved, and lost within my own accepted and allowed creation or existence. I forgive myself to have allowed myself to be ashamed of my own nature as a mind in existence in its current manifested expression, which I have accepted and allowed to exist through separation. I forgive myself to have allowed myself to separate myself from dimensional existence, believing the program that run within me as the mind, which I have accepted and allowed as me, of the dimensions being more than me, instead of realizing I am one with and equal to all of existence as who I am of life. I forgive myself to have allowed myself to actually believe that some knows more than others, instead of realizing that those that apparently know more and those that apparently know less are different variations of mind consciousness system implants and manifestations of both knowledge and information. I forgive myself that I have allowed myself to live, behave, be, and become a programmed mind system. I forgive myself to have allowed and accepted myself to be deceived, manipulated, controlled, enslaved, and suppressed by and through manifestations separate from me. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that I am only able to be there, deceived, manipulated, controlled, enslaved, and suppressed by and through manifestations separate from me if I exist within and as separation of that very manifestation. Okay, very cool. So we'll see you in the next video.